We have the pleasure of having the Hawaii County Prosecuting Attorney Mitch Roth and an investigator, Shane Muramaru, talk about agricultural crimes and smart water CSI. Mitch is an early adopter of the community justice method of problem solving, has traveled around the United States teaching community policing to law enforcement and community members for a community policing institute under the U.S. Department of Justice. He was one of the first community-oriented prosecutors in the nation, the first in Honolulu and then on Hawaii Island. He has been Hawaii County's elected prosecuting attorney since 2012, served as a deputy prosecutor since 1993, first in Honolulu and then on Hawaii Island. Roth is a founding member of the Hawaii Island Visitor Aloha Society, or VASH, the Community Coalition for Neighborhood Safety, Next Tech, which creates STEM opportunities for youth, and has helped bring the Citizens Emergency Response Teams, or CERT, to Hawaii Island. He is dedicated to helping young people achieve their goals. Roth is a board member of the Boys and Girls Club of the Big Island and of Camp Agape Big Island, a 4-day camp for children of incarcerated parents. Mitch has a BA from the University of Hawaii at Manoa and a Juris Doctorate from Whittier Law School. He is married to Noriko Yamada Roth, and they have 3 adult children who all graduated from Waikea High School. Mitch, thank you for coming today.
Aloha. Thanks, Glenn. Aloha, everybody. So we're going to talk a little bit about agricultural crimes and some of the things that we're doing here in Hawaii County and some of the things around the state. This conversation started a couple of weeks ago, and one of the things I like to ask people in the agricultural industry is about crimes and what kind of crimes we have here and how theft works. So a lot of people know that our theft laws, there's a difference between classes of crimes. There's misdemeanors, petty misdemeanors, and then you have felonies. And the way those are investigated are hugely different, for the police. A petty misdemeanor has up to 30 days in jail. A misdemeanor is up to a year in jail. But most likely, those people aren't going to see any jail and get pretty much a slap on the wrist. A felony, on the other hand, has up to 5 years incarceration. So for a felony theft in Hawaii or the whole state of Hawaii, you have to have generally $750 or more of value. For agricultural crime, however, it's different. So I just want to give you a test there for a second, wherever you are. How much is it for an agricultural crime in Hawaii? See if you know these answers. I'll get to that answer in just a few seconds. I'm going to show you a few slides here. I'm going to talk a little bit about the laws. So our theft law comes under Section 708, 831 of the Hawaii Revised Statutes. And I talked about the first part of that where you have a theft, make it a felony. These are the felony offenses. So under 1C, we talk about aquacultural products, and that gives a definition of aquacultural products. Under, let's see if I can get this to move. 1D, you have agricultural supplies or products. And there's the answer right there. For a theft of agricultural products, you're looking at $100 or more in value. But that's not the only way to get a felony theft of agricultural products or supplies. There's also amount in pounds, and that pounds are 25 pounds. And so we're talking to people in who are papaya farmers, and you think, how many papayas is that? How many bunches of bananas is that? How many boxes of flowers is that? 25 pounds may not be that much, especially if you're talking about things like maybe anthuriums or things like that. 25 pounds, that's pretty quick. It's not going to be $750 in value, but that's still a Class C felony, which has a possibility of 5 years incarceration. So some of the other things that we look at when we're taking agricultural products or when you're looking at this crime. It's from premises that are fenced or enclosed or secured in a manner designed to exclude intruders. So does it have to have a fence? No, there's an or. Or there's prominently displayed a sign saying private property, and the letters are not less than 2 inches. Do you have to have both? No, the law says or. So there's another way you can have an agricultural crime, which is a felony, and that is possession of agricultural products without movement certificates. And movement certificates are basically receipts. And that's laid out in Chapter 145 of the HRS, Hawaii Revised Statutes. So I'm just going to move through here. Second degree, it's a Class C felony, and that is a something you can get up to 5 years or, $10,000 fine. The other thing that's different in agricultural crimes is what the penalty is. So our agricultural laws, the minimum fine that you can get is $1,000, or twofold the damages sustained by the victim. And here's the kicker: whichever is greater. Now, for people in the agriculture industry, oftentimes you're going to need to know this, because oftentimes your police officers and your prosecutors may not know this. Hawaii County, hopefully they should know it, but on the other islands they may not know it. So here's something that happened. Several years ago, I was talking to some farmers, and they started telling me that they had some things that were being sold at the farmers markets, which were stolen. I said, how do you know that they're stolen? These were like rambutan. They said, well, they're selling it for cheaper than we can sell it, and we're the farmers. And so we asked the people who are selling it, how do you know that these products, where did you get these products from? And they said, well, we got it from these local guys. Local guys. Do they have names? They didn't have names. Can you give a description? Yeah, they're between like 5'6", 6 feet tall. So we had a suspect pool that we've now, have half the island. We couldn't really figure out how to solve this crime. At the same time this happened, we had our first case of mad cow disease in the United States. It was in Washington. And what was amazing is that they were able to track the cows back to Canada, where they came from. And we thought, well, that's really important. We should be able to do that. And so we got together with the Hawaii Farm Bureau. We went to the legislature, and we created a law that requires a movement certificate when you're transferring more than 200 pounds or something of a value of over 100. So if you're going to a farmer's market and they're selling more than $100 of agricultural goods, they are supposed to have a receipt and where it came from. And so that receipt talks about, where the seller is. I'll give you a couple things here. Under 145.22, the origin and the destination. We were doing really well. We had our community police officers that were enforcing this law. And then they said, look, we got other things that we got to work on. We tried to get the Department of Agriculture in there, and they just didn't have the manpower either. So a couple of years ago, we started looking at different ways of solving this problem, and we came up with a solution, which was to create an agricultural investigator program. And so we went to the Department of Agriculture. We met with the heads over there. They let us do a pilot project. We went to the legislature to see if we can make that pilot project into a fully funded position. And took us a little while, but we finally got a position. The way they did it, though, they gave us $200,000, $100,000 for the Big Island and $100,000 for Maui. And I don't think Maui's ever got up and going. And so COVID came, and then they took the monies away. So this next year we may not have an agricultural program. But the agricultural investigator, he would go out and educate our farmers markets and also work on some other crimes. And I'm going to bring him up here in just a few moments. And that's Shane Muramaru. Just going over the agricultural movement certificates. Again, this is the law, the definitions under 145.22, 21, 23. Under 23, section 23 of 145, it says if you fail to have that movement certificate or that receipt, then that is actually prima facie evidence of a violation, which is a Class C felony for theft. So It gives law enforcement the ability to inspect to make sure that there are the receipts. It gave our investigator the ability to check the receipts, and also gives the Department of Agriculture the ability to check. And they can write citations or summons. They can also seize the agricultural goods, and if we can't find out who owns those agricultural goods, it gives us the ability to, I'm just going to pass through those real quickly, to sell them. So, or give them to a nonprofit. I'm going to move on from agricultural theft to criminal trespass in the second degree. And that is when people go onto agricultural lands without permission. So this is something that we get a lot over here. And again, we have some things that the law requires, is that either the property is fenced, enclosed, secured in a manner designed to exclude intruders, have signs, or is under cultivation in the process of being harvested, or that has been harvested. So those are the three ways you can have your agricultural trespass violations. Do you have to have all three? No. So it's best to have signs out there. It's best to have it fenced, but you don't need to have all three. And I'm just going to move this. Another law that's out there for agricultural crimes is our agricultural crime of criminal property damage in the second degree. Generally, this is, to make it a felony, it is over $1,500. However, for agriculture, we're looking at $500. And that $500 includes the amount of damages of future losses. So if you think about this, if someone goes onto your farm and starts cutting your trees, and that prevents that tree from producing, you only have to show $500 worth of damage to get to a felony versus the $1,500. And if you think about, we'll take coffee trees or coffee bushes, you know, if you cut one of those things down, those can easily produce more than $500 in a year or two. So the law gives farmers a lot. Unfortunately, a lot of people don't know about these laws, so it's also a Class C felony. So those are the things I was going to talk about real quickly. That took about 15 minutes. I'd like to bring Shane up. Shane is our agricultural investigator for Hawaii Island. And one of the things that we started doing is we started working with different ways of helping our farmers, other than just having an investigator, other than going out there and creating laws for movement certificates. We wanted to do something a little bit different. So Shane's going to talk a little bit about smart water, but I think Eric, Glenn is going to introduce him. So,
Thank you for your presentation, Mitch. Next, we're going to have Shane Muramaru. Shane is an investigator at the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney in the County of Hawaii. He's a 16-year veteran of the Hawaii Police Department, former senior manager and director of safety and security at Parker Ranch. He has worked harvesting pineapples in Lanai, planted sugarcane for the former Hamakua sugar plantation. Shane is also a small-scale rancher and hobby farmer. Shane, thank you for coming today.
Hi, thank you, Glenn. Hi, I'm Shane Muramaru from the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney. I'm an investigator there. We're going to talk about Smart Water CSI. So, Smart Water CSI came to us. I'll explain to you what it is. Okay, thank you. I think it was last year, Tracy Matsumoto from the USDA, they ran into some theft problems in Puelo. And so she needed help, so gave her some advice. And then I said, try and do a search on the internet. See what else, maybe, you know, she can find something else. And she called me up, she goes, you heard of Smart Water CSI? I said, no. So we looked it up. I started researching it, contacted the company, and here we are now. So, Okay, so what is Smart Water CSI? So Smart Water CSI is a forensic marker that uses a traceable liquid to code valuables that are at risk of theft and to mark burglars, linking them directly with the crime scene. So, oh, thank you, Glenn. So what that is just little fluorescent liquid that you can't, once it's dried, you can't see. So, let's see. Oops. Okay, video's not working, so. Okay, so how does it prevent crime? So there's a few ways how it prevents crime. Smart Water, it uses a traceable liquid technology that codes valuables. So each liquid has its own, it's like DNA. People refer it to DNA, but it's not DNA, it's chemical, but it contains a 1 in a billion forensic code. So it's detectable only with a specific UV light. Each bottle is registered to the owner or the business, so every bottle is different. And the mark is invisible once it's dried. So the product is guaranteed for a minimum of 5 years for outdoor use. Okay, so that's my watch. And law enforcement is the only people that Smart Water sells these UV lights to. So it's a proprietary UV light. And so once you shine the light on it, you see it glowing. And I did it in the dark, so you can kind of see it a little better. So you can actually see it on my watch right now. I don't know if you guys can see that, and that should last for about 5 years or longer. They said a lot of times when they first started, they said it lasted a lot longer, but they're saying 5 years now just in case, I think. So law enforcement can also use this for covert applications. So they have spray systems, they have grease, like if you have problems like Tulare County in California, they're having a lot of problems with people stealing batteries, solar panels, cables. So they put this grease on it, and it's clear. You know there's something there, but when guys touch it, they wipe it on themselves, touch their face, and that stuff stays on your skin for a few months. And what they did, what they have is, and we also have it. We don't have it set up yet, but they have stations at the booking stations where criminals go in for like warrants for all different crimes, and they shine the light on them, and people started glowing, after 2 of the crimes that they had in Tulare County. And they said it was pretty amazing, and guys fessed up, once they found out what it was. So, and there's also spray systems also where they hook it to alarm systems, like you can put it in a doorway, and somebody breaks into a building, they get sprayed, they don't know what it is, the thing dries pretty quick, and then these guys are glowing, like that guy. So, and so the biggest thing we found is Smart Water CSI is a deterrent, because criminals can't see it. The marked items can be retraced back to the owner, because if I mark like my watch, there's thousands of these watches around, and they all look the same, and when it's used by law enforcement for trespassing, burglaries, the criminals, they don't want to be marked. So Smart Water CSI, what they did was they encouraged to educate the criminals. And so once you educate criminals, they go, oh, that's kind of bad stuff, So I could have like 1,000 items to mark at my house, but I marked 10. The criminals don't know which one you marked. So with signage, decals, it was a huge deterrent. So these signs right here is similar to this one. Each one has a logo on it from a law enforcement agency. So once you're partnered with a law enforcement agency, the community is, they have special discounts for the Smart Water, and Smart Water can be backed by the law enforcement, so they can actually do the tracing and use it for covert use. So I spoke to about a little more than a dozen different law enforcement agencies when I was researching this that had Smart Water, and all of them except for one agency, which they bought it and they just threw it in the closet. They all said it works. And a lot of them said we can't measure how it works because they had, like in Brighton Beach, I think they had this one neighborhood would had a ton of burglaries over there, and like 4, 5, 10 a day reported burglaries. And then when they started doing this, it dropped down to 0. So they're pretty sure it's from the smart water being a deterrent. Tulare County, same thing. All these different areas. So if you go on the internet, you search, you can just go Smart Water CSI on YouTube, and there's all these news reports and stuff like that on Smart Water CSI. And this is a video from Tulare County. Okay, so this year, the Kamehameha Schools and the Ulupono Initiative and us, the Office of the Prosecuting Attorney, we partnered up to bring Smart Water CSI to the County of Hawaii. Kamehameha Schools in Ulupono, they purchased kits to give to their farmers on their leased lands. And I know from working as the agriculture crimes investigator, a lot of our producers and stuff, they don't like calling the police, but we all should report all the crimes. But we want to see if this is going to work, you know, so we can mark the areas. And you know, they're issuing out these little kits like right now, and we're going to put up signs soon, and then we're going to start doing more public, you know, letting the public know what this is. And I wonder if anybody had any questions here.
Contact if they've got questions.
They can, I didn't put my email on there, but they can email me at Shane.Muramaru at hawaiicounty.gov. Or you can just call the office, or just call the prosecutor's office and ask for Shane. So.
Shane, what is the people in Hawaii County, how much do these kits cost?
These kits cost a little over $100 a little vial like this. But if you're partnered with a law enforcement agency from the local area, they drop the price about like $44.50. So it's kind of good stuff. It might give you peace of mind. Hopefully the criminals will start getting smart and go, okay, that house is marked, this farm is marked, you know.
Can you talk about working together with HFNA and Kamehameha Schools to help get them out to the farmers?
Yeah, so you guys can partner up with us along with this program, because the program has already started already. So, and I think as far as Smart Water is concerned, Hawaii County is started. So with the law enforcement. So as long as they know you're from Hawaii County, they'll give you the discount. So you can get their product directly from their website. And there's a process, because you have to get the kits registered and everything else. But once it's there, then you know you just follow the directions and you mark your stuff, and then put your signs up. Anything else?
Okay.
Nope. Thank you.
Thank you, Shane. So we just want to remind you that also, along with that Smart Water CSI as a deterrent, producers should be issuing their movement certificates to allow the prosecuting attorneys to trace back these products, so in case there is, so they can help build a criminal case against the thieves.